Hello and welcome back to Inferno Mines, the Fun Path Challenge, Part 3. I'm Corkboy, and we just finished off the first full dungeon of the first intersection, Lower Mines. And this time we're going to go and complete the second dungeon, the Everforge. But first we've got to clean out our inventory from all the stuff we got in last time from finally that dungeon. A few TNT left. Those might come in handy for some more TNT carts later on in the future. And basically we're all set. We're going to just sort of organize a little bit more. And before we head to the end of Everforge, there's one last part from the lower mines that we're going to want to get an item for. So that's if you head back to the lower mines and take a left instead of going straight, you actually end up going below the Everforge into this little extra optional area. Now the only thing we're after here is this pair of diamond boots and a chest that's right here. So we're just going to go there straight, get those boots, and run back out. There's also wraiths, which are these invisible punch skeletons that you can farm their boots for, but we're going to avoid them if possible here. There's no reason to fight them. Now the only thing to worry about here is this little exit area where it's very common, if you don't torch up above you, that a creeper will fall down and blow up. So you just have to be careful about that. And as long as we don't worry about that, we should be perfectly fine. See? That's what I was talking about. So, oh, and of course, I never did successfully reset my bed back at base because it was never night when I tried to sleep the last time, so I get to run back from the Whitewell area, called the Abandoned Dormitories. I think I never said the name earlier. But it's not a problem. It's right here, real close, so we just run back. Especially, it doesn't take very long when the video is sped up 3 times. It's it seems a lot closer to watching this after the fact, after editing. So, sleep, finally, set my spawn back at base, the right base this time, and get just a, we are going to be heading back into a dark area with some enemies, so make sure you get some temporary armor on, a sword and a bow, and some food, and we'll be okay. Now, our stuff should be fine. It's just sitting right there on the stairs, or slightly below the stairs, so just run back, and let's see here. I see there's some of my stuff. Pick it up, and run down. Now, the only thing we're really after in this area is a chest that's hidden underneath the bottom of the stairs. Yeah, see, there's more of my stuff down there. I've got to go get that. So it doesn't look like there's too much stuff spawned now, so that's good. And we can just, maybe actually spawning back at the Whitewell area was useful because it caused this chunk to get unloaded and everything despawned. But there we go. And I think that's it. I don't think we lost anything, even though it was an unfortunate explosion incident. And here, under here, is where these diamond boots are that I was looking for. There we are. And some bottles of enchanting and chainmail and ender pearls as well. Everything else is crap. Everything else we just leave in the chest. Is really those sharpness 3 wooden swords, yeah, okay. But I've got a sharpness, I think it's sharpness 4 knockback looting 2 sword. It's not worth it. So head right back after placing some unnecessary torches. And okay, there. Completely uneventful. Get those diamond boots. No issues whatsoever. Yep. Now then, now that we've done that little errand, we put on our real armor. And we're going to save those boots for later. Definitely don't need diamond armor for the Everforge. It's not that hard an area, and in this challenge could make it much harder if you play it foolishly, I guess you should say. You can't force this area with this current challenge because there are lots of creepers near the wool box, and if they start blowing up, then it'll make your job much, much harder. But thankfully, in this case, we don't have to worry too much about that as long as we're quick and as long as we play it smart. For the rest of the area, it's basically a skeleton-focused area, so we're just going to be doing a lot of bow and arrow battles and careful cleaning room by room. So, here we go. Now, this first room here has a lot of creeper spawns in the walls, underneath the walls around the room. You can't break those, so we just have to get in here and light up as fast as we can. If you don't do that, then we're going to have about 7 or 8 creepers popping up in this room and making our lives miserable, not just then, but for a long time. But it looks like we did a good enough job lighting up, so I don't see any creeper spawns, and that's not good enough for me. I'm going to keep lighting up until it looks 100% lit up. This spawner out here is just a real simple run. While we have the speed from the base, definitely want to get as much of this lit up as possible. Here's another one. No problem. Little skeleton. Kill you, no problem, too. This little initial area is not an issue. And he was waiting to blow up that chest, but I saved the chest. It's just as good. It has a lot of bottles of enchanting in it. It's a little hidden behind a wall back here. I think people might miss it. Now, this area we're going to with the redstone torch is probably completely irrelevant in this challenge, because the only thing back there are the saplings. So, Vechs in the wood area put a little sign that gave a hint that Everforge has a bunch of saplings if you want to grow trees and make your own farm, and they're back there. So we are going to clear that area out, even though it's not particularly necessary, but it's good to make sure you let it up and there are no creeper spawners, and it's also good to prove that you can do this area cleanly. So here you go. I guess there are a couple creeper spawners in that room, maybe. The reason why there's so many creepers there already is because it's right next to that room in the entrance, which I lit up. So as long as you're in there, the creepers spawn on the other side of the wall. It's actually the same spawners underneath the wall between the two rooms. So basically there are always going to be a lot of creepers in this room the first time you go. So you just have to lure them out down this hall and then snipe them with your bow. And you're going to have to do it probably a couple times, because you're not going to get every creeper the first time. There are actually some spawners closer to this side as well, which you probably just activated for the first time. So here you go, there's a couple back. The fact that this sword has knockback on it is really a benefit when dealing with creepers, because it'll knock them out of their explosion range. And it pretty much two hits creepers, so you can very safely take out creepers with this sword, assuming there's only one. See, like this guy. There we go. And this room is cleared as well. This room back here, storage room, has the saplings in it, in this chest with the redstone torch. I'm not even going to bother to take them because we can't grow them. But there are some iron pants in here and a couple of other armor supplies, which I'll just pick up while I'm in here. There with the saplings. Okay, so this little initial area is done. I'm just going to run back and, since we're right here, and put the stuff in the chest to clear out my inventory space. Even though I'm not even close to full, but there's a lot of loot in the building itself, and I want to make sure that I have as much space as possible. Also, I was running a bit low on torches, so I made myself another 4 stacks. Alright, here comes the main area here. We've got this area on the right, which has a lot of spawners, a lot of skeleton spawners, and what you can't see, or it's not so easy to see, is that there are also spawners up above, which will drop enemies on your head. And even farther above is a witch spawner that's right in the wool room that has a very large range, and therefore will actually spawn witches, which will drop from that ledge above onto the platform. And these are Vechs witches, which have extra speed and extra health, and they are very difficult to kill. So we want to be very careful of those witches. If you keep seeing me sort of glance up, that's what I'm doing. Now I just ran back to go to a chest that has a diamond chest plate in it and grab pretty much just that diamond chest plate and boots, which are a really good loot at this point in the map. I think this is the first diamond chest plate on the map, and hopefully, you could wait and slap that protection 4 book on the chest plate instead of the helmet like I did, but I'm going to save that all the way until I get a protection 4 and unbreaking 3 on it, and it'll be one of the best pieces of armor in the game. So I'm just sniping a couple enemies over there, make sure that they're dead as much as dead as possible before I actually went over there. If you see that room down below there, well, we're not even going to bother cleaning it out in this run, but a safer way to go into the Everforge, other than running around to the right like I'm doing now, is to ender pearl down to that ledge and then go up from the bottom. That is actually a really useful way to attack this, because you don't have to go to the place to the right which spawns those witches. Now, the main area here is basically climbing up the ladders and clearing out a bunch of rooms. I'm on 1.5 speed here, so, it looks like I'm doing things pretty well. Bunch of skeleton spawners up here, and these will also drop enemies down above on that right-hand approach. So that's another reason why it always fills with enemies. Room by room, just light it up. The actual loot in the chests in here is not so important, so this floor is pretty simple. But I'm going to just check it anyway. Yeah, this is looks like there's, that was a power 3 flame 1 bow, which can definitely be good at this stage in the game. But I have infinity on my current bow, and I want to make I used that infinity book I got from the treasure chest that was right outside the base, and put it on power 2 flame 1, or power 2 the punch 1. infinity zone though. It's actually very useful. So here, this next floor is where things start to get tricky. There's a skeleton spawner right there, which you have to basically just power your way to and get some torches on it. Fighting on a ladder like this is actually very, very useful. You just barely poke your head out and see that creeper almost exploded, but you can go up and down real quickly. Ah, and there's one of those witches. So one did spawn, and they spawned up here on this floor. If you go far enough down, they're not going to actually throw potions at you and not get you poisoned. So that is very useful. And it looks like I managed to kill them. I got some potions up, and I got some, not potions, I got some torches up. And okay, and now it's just sort of, alright, 3 skeletons. I'm not going to make any progress with the sword of that, so run back a bit. Head out here to this platform. Oh my god, that's a lot of skeletons. Thankfully, most of the little platforms here have railings, so you don't have to worry about being knocked off the whole entire thing down below and falling to your death. But even so, there are a lot of skeleton spawners around, and they keep spawning. Now, we can light up the area on this platform around this. Oh, and I angered an enderman. This is bad. Usually, when you anger an enderman, the best strategy is to place a block above your head so that you're only in a 2-wide position. But I'm trying the place a ladder above your head strategy. I don't even know whether that actually works. I don't think it does. The Endermen seem to have warped somewhere far away, so thankfully don't worry about him. Now these spawners up here just cause just giant pain because they're wide area spawners. As you can see, it just spawned a skeleton mid-air, and these skeletons will drop down to the floor below and pile up there. Now that means it won't have that much health left because they take fall damage, but you know, as they're spawning, they drop down, and it's like a mob grinder where, because they drop down outside the range of the spawner itself, they won't be mob capped, so it'll just keep spawning them and keep dropping them down. As long as you're standing here on the floor, you can have 10-15 skeletons down below by the time you try and actually get out here. And I think we might just see that that in action here. And there's no, unless you destroy those spawners, which you can't in this challenge, there's nothing you can do about it. There's no way to light up the air unless you place blocks outside and light up around the blocks, and it's a giant pain. And of course you can't do it at all in this challenge because you can't place any blocks. So here I am in this room. This room has some more diamond boots and some good loot. And there are 2 skeleton spawners in it, but just keep the door closed and you're pretty good to go. Head out here, and okay, that's it for this floor. Actually, there's also a diamond sword with I believe silk touch on it, which is over sort of in a secondary area, and I don't get that in this run, and I think that's just because I completely forgot. But to be honest, my current sharpness 4 iron sword is much better than that diamond sword anyway, so I'm not going to worry about that until much later. Now, if you notice, I sort of went up and purposefully torched that little ledge to the right of the door. And the reason is because there are actually creeper spawners right there. They're actually supposed to be for inside the room, but they always spawn creepers on that ledge. And the creepers just walk up and blow up your door and blow up that entire entry area and really ruin your day. Now, I've been shot at by skeletons up from the ceiling, and so it's really important to clear out the roof of the Everforge as well, which is what I'm doing right now. There are also a couple, and oh, that's a lot of skeletons. See, I've been standing here spawning the skeletons, and it's like 6 of them. But thankfully, I have, quite decent armor at this point. It doesn't matter how much time I get shot by skeletons, they're not going to really do any serious damage to me. So, torch it up. A couple more skeletons. Keep spawning. And there, done. Seihatsu, as they say in Japanese. Complete domination of the Everforge, except for the wool room. And there's an anvil there, a nice full anvil that is not broken at all. I'm going to use the chest as a bit of a throw away some of the extra crap I got and I don't need. And I think that's pretty much everything up. There are also 2 more anvils here, and I'm going to grab them, just why not? They stack, so when they're this anvils stack, but they only stack if they're the same damagedness, so a full, complete, undamaged anvil will stack with another undamaged anvil. Now, as I told you before, there are still enemies here, so we're sort of retreating. We got to the wool room, but we're going to retreat. And even though we have full hearts and full health and tons of stuff and even inventory space, this is how you do this area smartly. clear it out, light it up, and then leave before you head to the wool room. The reason, as you'll see soon, is to allow the enemies to despawn, especially the enemies down below, which may have piled up. Like I said, there are 17 skeletons out here. If you do that, and the witches and everything, and all the other bad guys despawn, look at those, all those witches. If you run away right about now, and you come back, you'll have a much easier time. Now, don't look back here. Whoa, see why? Vechs gave those witches speed, and they will chase you all the way into your base here if you're not careful. So only leave one of those two doors open when you get in the Evid Forge, and then close it behind you. And it's a very smart technique to make sure you don't get potion in the back of the head. Now, I've got all my stuff, and I am going to prepare for the wool room. So, first off, back in Skylight Sea, I believe, I actually got a Blast Protection 4 book, and I do have some nice iron pants now, and something about pants and Blast Protection just sort of goes together in my mind, so I'm going to make myself some Blast Protection 4 boots, Blast Protection 4 pants. Also, my bow is almost broken, so I'm going to repair it here, and maybe name it, or maybe not. I'm not sure whether I'm going to bother naming it. I think I'm just going to repair it in the end, because there's not, we'll get better bows than this. It's power 2, I guess Unbreaking 1, Infinity 1, and it'll last a while, but the Infinity is the crucial thing, because you definitely don't want to be out of arrows all of a sudden and have nothing else to do. So now I'm making those pants I mentioned, the Blast Protection 4 pants. Blast Protection 4 is actually sort of expensive for the protections. It's even more expensive than Protection 4. I'm not sure why, but that's the way it's set up. So okay, that's it. We're back. We're done. We've got our new pants, and we're heading back. And it's eerily quiet. I don't see any enemies. Why is this? I thought this place was quite active before. Well, it's because we were out back a little bit of ways, and everything despawned. And now we're gonna run into the wool room. And in the wool room, there are 1,000 creeper spawners and a blaze spawner. There's that witch spawner I mentioned before, but they are not, ambush spawners. They have a delay. So if you light up fast enough, and here I'm trying to light up a blaze spawner, it sort of works. You can't really light up a blaze spawner with normal torches unless you literally put a torch on every single block around it. But what I did was good enough. And I saw one creeper. And I think that's like a miracle, because there are literally, I think, 8 creeper spawners below those bookshelves. But if you leave everything to despawn, then run in, then you'll have a much, much, much easier time of it. And, of course, there's still some skeletons down here, and all those witches spawned outside of that room, which was quite lucky. And we have 3 of them here, which we take care of at a distance where they won't chase after you. And there is a blaze who spawned outside of the wool room. 2 of them, actually. We're just going to take those out and take out that creeper that tried to assassinate us while on fire. And there we go. Now, this really wasn't much different about this particular area in this challenge than anything else, other than sort of doing it, officially. As it said, it's called the Fun Path Challenge, and this is basically exactly as Vechs intended us to do this area. Slowly, carefully, and sniping witches with a bow. So, that's it. Wool in hand. Heading out. That was quite easy, really, when you look at it. And that basically does it for the Everforge. So thanks everyone for watching, and see you next time.